Good afternoon, everyone. It's Andrew Beach, Executive Coach. I'm a teacher of self-education. I help professionals like you communicate your value to find great opportunities faster, whether you're working or not. If you want to join us live today, there is a link in the chat to do so. In fact, access the chat and let me know where are you joining from. I'd be appreciating to know what that is. Hang tight as I go over and turn off the volume on this other page. Let me mute the site there. I just have the LinkedIn open so I can see the chat. So I'll come back there in just a second. Good to see you all. Where are you joining from? Let me know in the chat if you're on YouTube, Periscope, my Facebook group, or even LinkedIn Live. Our topic today is one of interest to me just because I've had a lot of interesting conversations this week about best practices on LinkedIn. And so I find it really interesting, people's perspectives on these topics. And so we'll get into that in just a second. If you would please let people know that I'm here every Friday. Yes, every Friday for Career Happy Hour. This is designed to help you. 3 p.m. Pacific time. Right now it's daylight time. So 3 p.m. Daylight time Pacific, I'm available to help you with any of your career coaching needs. That's hands-on support, folks. So that means if you want to come on live, there is a link in the chat to do that. Just access that link. You'll be put right in the queue here. And just make sure that you turn off your LinkedIn like I did. I had my LinkedIn turned on and the audio came on in the background and it made an echo. So don't do that. If you come in live, just make sure that you turn off your LinkedIn broadcast so that we don't have an echo. Outside of that, just put your questions in the chat. I'd be happy to answer. And this is a community. That's what we're trying to create here. We're trying to create a community to help you connect with other job seekers, maybe connect with people in my network that watch these lives and are willing to support you and make new connections. That's the deal. And so if you want to be part of a thriving group that's here to help each other, you're in the right place. Good. So we got some folks from Seattle, Tennessee, Vancouver, Washington, Orlando. I'm sure it's really nice in Orlando today. Can't have any rain yet. Just curious. Tucson, Nassau, Bahamas. Yes, very beautiful. Hopefully nobody's experiencing the type of hurricanes that they're having in Hawaii or down in, I guess, the Caribbean, whatever that looks like. So hopefully everybody's safe and sound, surviving, thriving, having success during the pandemic. So let me know what questions you have in the chat. I'd be happy to answer. Let me go over to YouTube. There we go. I have to put these links on two spots for chat, so I apologize. One for LinkedIn and Periscope and the other for LinkedIn Live. Well, Periscope and YouTube, excuse me. And then LinkedIn Live's a separate chat, but that's just one of the limitations of my video streaming service. So the idea I had for today was kind of fun, and I'd like to get your perspectives as well. And that is what not to do on LinkedIn. Okay. There's plenty of things that we all know that we should be doing or are doing, but what are some things that I noticed as a coach or as a user of LinkedIn since 2004 that I would maybe stop doing or just consider not doing? What is that for you? What is a pet peeve or a challenge or something that you want to share with the team here that you think should be something you don't do? Okay. And I just literally, I had one come up just before we started today. And so I'm not going to name any names, but the first pet peeve I have is when someone is using a logo or a picture for their profile photograph. Okay. Profile photograph. That's not much different or even better than not having one at all. So what I would encourage you not to do is not have a photograph that doesn't represent who you are as you are now. Meaning, if you look at my profile image, I think it's a couple years old, but you know, it's a little bit photoshopped or modified, but it's pretty close, I think, to what you see on these live images, these live broadcasts. Why is that important? Well, when you think about it, Many hiring teams are going to see your profile image, your profile on LinkedIn. You don't think they're looking at your profile if you're in a hiring process, or even just, I mean, I'm getting, what do you say? Probably 1,200 views every 90 days. So I'm getting, what is that? 300 views a month. So those people are looking at my profile. And if I'm not the person in these lives that they're seeing, even in my profile image, then I've broken integrity. Now, I'm not saying that in a way that I'm sacrificing my values, but what integrity means is that you're similar as they see you across your different channels. So that would be more related to consistency. So that's the thing, is we should consider having a recent photograph in our headshot space, right? And there's best practices around that. You can find those all over the internet, but people need to connect with you as a person, and they need to see that you're open and available, okay? Open and available. If your photograph doesn't show that you're open, available, and let's say professional as relates to your brand and the type of work you're seeking, you need to maybe adjust that if you haven't, okay? Good. Hi, Terry. Hi, Nick. Good to have you. Nick says, hey, yeah. So one of the things that kind of challenges me too, and we see this kind of, I don't know if it's an overreach or there's more and more people coming to LinkedIn for the first time. They're not purists like some of us that have been here for a while since LinkedIn was established, and we're thinking from a position of nostalgia. But it's not uncommon that the mainstream would penetrate into LinkedIn. So I agree. I'm not one for political posts or political viewpoints unless I'm looking for it. So just like any social media, I think we have to maybe monitor those things that come into our feed, and we can unfollow people. If they have a series of posts that really aren't just aligned with who we are, then certainly I would unfollow them. Now, would I disconnect from them? Probably not, unless they were being belligerent to me personally. If they're being belligerent to me personally, then I would disconnect. Okay, I would disconnect from them and maybe block them. But I don't take that lightly. Blocking somebody is like saying to them, I'm not interested in any value you have, and I don't believe you're going to change or provide value in the future. So it may be that you do something that certainly is, like I did that. I don't know, what was that? About 3 years ago, there was a huge influencer on LinkedIn, and it was exactly the conversation or the don't we talked about with the photograph. The image I saw in his headshot, his profile image, was not the same person that I saw in the videos he was producing. The videos he was producing, he actually had a much better image than on his profile photo. And I tried to provide that feedback. And the response I got was not, hey, thanks for the input, or, that's interesting. It's disconnect and block. So, and this is a major influencer on the platform. How on earth could that person have made that determination based on one comment, piece of feedback? Now, I admit I was at fault for what happened there, but it's okay. I don't need to pay for anyway. I think you guys know what I mean. So if you could, share some of your experiences with foot and mouth scenarios that cost you opportunities, that certainly would be interesting to me. If you want to share. I need to get some water here. Sorry about that. So here's the other thing. I see it all over LinkedIn now in the feeds, this open to work. Show me one person, and I think I made this challenge a while back. I just don't think it's relevant that you should say you're open to opportunities. I think anyone that's on LinkedIn is open to an opportunity. Now, whether or not they say yes or no is a different story. But I don't know anybody that wouldn't listen if there was an opportunity presented for potentially something better. That means whatever you share with somebody or reach out to them for ought to be better than what they currently have. And you should know that up front, right? Good deal. Hey, Joffrey, good to see you. Sorry, folks. Have a dry throat. So that's the other thing, is this idea of open to opportunities, that I need to broadcast to everybody on LinkedIn that I'm a job seeker. And now this is just personal preference, right? Is that I want to have a brand that's front and center that positions me as really strong in a specific area. What is that for you? And does the term, hashtag open to opportunities or open to work, ONO, whatever you want to call it, does that align with your brand? Does that align with your brand? Is that the brand you want to be known for? My suspicion is no, it's not. It's something that LinkedIn has put into their system that you think is valuable because they put it there. And it isn't always valuable, and it may not get you the results that you think. The challenge with LinkedIn, and I'm sure this is potentially coming, is that you can't yet put a profile into a shopping cart and check out with a credit card. Although I think that's kind of the direction they're going. They might be looking to commoditize and monetize labor. And that is a potential possibility. But I don't presuppose that that's going to happen, but in the near future, but it certainly is on the horizon. It's the reason they're integrating with the ATS. I could see companies, I could see it becoming an egalitarian marketplace where you don't attach yourself to a company, you attach yourself to a set of skills, where I could take my skills to one or any number of companies, and I therefore get to negotiate my compensation for each engagement or contract that I put myself in. So I could see LinkedIn elevating themselves in that way if they wanted to, but we'll see. We'll see what happens there. So that's the other thing. You don't need to say you're open to opportunities. Everybody on LinkedIn's open to opportunities. Now, there is a section on your profile where you can do that. I just wouldn't make it available to the whole public and get that little, funny ring around your photograph. Personal preference, your mileage might vary. The other thing I think you should not do, or at least consider not doing, is don't leave sections of your profile empty. There's a lot of people, I come to their profile and they put two periods or two hyphens in the headline. Folks, this is 120 characters of super valuable real estate, and you're putting 2 dashes in there. Like, I don't know what to put in there, so I'll just put 2 dashes so I can get my profile established. Folks, don't do that. Now, the headline, if you're not familiar, is that 120 characters under your name. So you don't have to, put anything there, but I think that's super valuable real estate where you can share some of your branding, and you should share your branding. The other section I see left empty a lot is the About section. Your About section is 2,000 characters. Why on earth would you leave 2,000 characters of valuable real estate empty? I don't understand. I don't have any concept of why that is. You have a lot of space there to share. You can use white space. You can use, the first person. There's a lot of details you can put in that About section. Use it, okay? I've also seen people just put in their experience and, the dates of service and all that. They'll put in the job title and the company, but they don't put in any description. They don't get the keyword value of the description section. They leave it empty, okay? Or, and this is something else you might want to look at, is sometimes they make that section not visible. It's like, what's the point of having a LinkedIn profile if nobody can see it? So look at your privacy settings. And so sometimes these sections may not be showing to other people. That's a problem if there's sections of your profile that aren't showing up anywhere. Good, thank you. Lisha, I customized the content of the open to work post. Yeah, so you can do that, but again, I think you can do that without having it attached to their framework. You can send messages to your network. You don't have to broadcast to everybody in creation that you're out of work or unemployed and now you've established yourself as that brand. That's what I'm suggesting. Is there's nothing that's stopping you from having networking conversations with with people in your network without having to broadcast to everybody all that information. Hi, Mina. Good to see you. Good. Yeah, of course. I appreciate that. Joffrey, I'm here to support your success. So if there's any questions you have, or even if you want to come on live, there's a link in the chat. You can click that link. You'll come in the queue. We'll come on and we'll have a conversation. I'm happy to do that. I might need to plug in my earphones though. Let me do that now. There we go. And then so I can have those, get that out of the picture there. Move my camera a little bit. There we go. Yeah, I mean, that way we can have a good conversation. Yeah. Awesome. Yes, open to work is a little too obvious, and that comes from Terry. Now Terry's been in the HR talent acquisition function, that whole area of a company, and even he's saying that it's just a little too. What it is for me is it's distracting. It's distracting from what you really want to communicate on the platform, and that is your branding. Be known for something to somebody rather than all things to all people. Okay. Good deal. Yeah, I mean, here's a good call out. I hadn't thought about that, Nick. The open to work thing is people are calling about a job versus just, hey, let's have a conversation. That's what the networking is about. It's about just having a conversation with people of strategic significance to both parties so that we can both walk away with something. Other than, hey, I win, you lose, I need a job, and you've maybe got one, can you help me? So anyway, Joffrey, so nice with the adjectives. Appreciate that. Good. Hello from New Jersey, Vimal. Good to see you. Good to have you back again. Hey, you guys share amongst each other. I would issue a challenge to anybody that's on this live stream to say, hey, I'm going to write down the names of everybody in this live stream that I see in the chat, and I'm going to connect with them. Okay. Do that, connect with them, and then take it the next step and have a conversation about what they are up to or what their strengths are. What are they trying to accomplish? Why are they showing up to the LinkedIn Lives on Friday at 3:00 Pacific? Right. And, if you're just joining us, click the share button down below. Happy to bring people on live, answer their questions about career. That's why I'm here. So don't leave sections of your profile empty. If it's possible to put something in there, put something in there. If you've done strategic projects, great. There's a whole section in the profile to add strategic projects. Maybe some of us, I was just thinking about this. Maybe some of us have been on LinkedIn for so long that we really need to just do a top to bottom audit. Make sure there's sections there. Maybe we need to go to our privacy and profile settings and make sure they're just set the way we want them to be, because things change. Even LinkedIn is instituting new measures. They're putting in, things like two-factor authentication and, different requirements under, different laws and such. And so it's good. It's good to be in there and looking at the settings that are being added and really taking advantage of that. And one of those sections that actually people have maybe overlooked is the featured section. So if you haven't added some sort of content there, fine. Put the link to my LinkedIn Live in your featured section if you don't want to put any there. So if you're not going to use that valuable real estate for yourself, use it for little old me. Good. So just don't leave sections of the profile empty, please. Fill out every section that's relevant and make sure it's keyword driven based on your brand and the type of people you're trying to attract. So that's another area to maybe audit if are those of us that have been on LinkedIn for a long time. That's something to think about. So the next thing is how should I say this? Don't put information in the company name or the educational institution name that doesn't have a logo attached to it. Okay. So that means whenever I go into enter a company in the experience section, I ought to have something there that has a logo attached to it. There's a certain amount of disbelief. It invalidates your entry if it doesn't have a logo next to it. Now, all that means is that there's a company page attached to the company you worked for. And that adds legitimacy, yes, but it also connects you with all the people that you used to work with. And so if you create your own company without having a company page behind it, nobody's going to find that connection. So keep that in mind as you go through and look at your profile. Does it have a logo next to the company name? Now the company might change. It might have been acquired. Great. Use the company logo or the company entry of the name of the company that it is now. And then in the description section, you can always say, hey, it's now, what is it? Microsoft instead of LinkedIn, right? So it's just, or formerly, HP, formerly Hewlett Packard, right? Whatever it is, you can put that information in the description section, okay? But I've seen so many entries where somebody put in OSU Department of Agriculture. They put in their own university, and it's not connecting them to any of their alumni. That's a problem. If you want to connect with other alumni, wouldn't you want the university you actually attended to be showing on your profile? And the answer is yes. You don't want to create your own university. You don't want to create your own company unless you're in business for yourself like me. If I created a company and it doesn't have a company page, I should probably create a company page. But that may not be you. It may just be entering the wrong information to find the one that's got the logo next to it. So use your best judgment there and try to find, if you can, logos next to every section of your profile where there's one available. Okay. Good. Excellent. Yeah. I mean, you're right. Come on, Ted. You know this is true. All of us need to admit that we can do a refresh every now and again. I'm not insulated in this way either. Although I did go through a pretty major rebrand 5 years ago because I transitioned from real estate to career coaching, the executive coaching I'm doing now. I loved both of them, but I can't be known for two different things. That means I'm out of alignment on my branding. It's just not valid. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's a good point, Ted, is that with all of the tools we have available today, even on LinkedIn, it doesn't check your grammar. It may check a misspelling. I've often found that if you look at your public profile and you copy and paste all the content there, or you download your profile as a PDF and then open it in Word, I think that works, or even Google Docs will allow you to open a PDF as a Google Doc. You can then use their spelling and grammar checkers to look through that document. But that's a manual process. There isn't anything inside LinkedIn to do that. So good call out. Yeah, don't have grammar errors on your profile. That's another good one. Grammar errors or spelling errors. I mean, I see, the one I see a lot actually is principal. And people put principal with an LE instead of principal with an AL. It's just the wrong usage. So be careful. Yes, of course. I get it. Eric, I think there is a version of Grammarly that's free. And maybe that works inside LinkedIn. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe you could tell us if that does or not. Is it on any website? I'm not sure that it works on every website, but certainly if it works on LinkedIn, I would love to know. And if it's free, and it's actually Grammarly with an AR, I believe, not an ER. Speaking of spelling errors, anyway, I don't aim to point the finger at anybody, but not all of us are perfect, right? All of us make mistakes. That's okay. So the next thing you should, so this is kind of a corollary of open to opportunities or open to work. And that is, don't make desperate pleas on your profile or on your posts. Desperate pleas are something that repel a lot of people. Now, could you make a contribution or perhaps even offer yourself as available to help? Yes, that's valuable, right? So if I approach the profile or I approach the post from a position of contribution, then I'm going to draw more people in than if I try to say, hey, can you help me? No, I'm here to help you. I'm here to make a contribution, much like I do at these Friday sessions, right? I'm not here to promote anything, although I could, and I often will mention things that are other free resources. And if you want support with an interviewing, I had I had 3 interview prep sessions this week, private clients, where we did 90-minute prep sessions. And one of the guys it was 2 weeks ago, he ended up getting a job at Amazon, but he got an offer the next day based on that interview prep service. So yes, I do provide services. If you're interested, reach out, but that's not why I do these. I do these because I like to give back to the community and make a contribution and certainly get some exposure. I mean, that's the whole point, right? The whole point is to get exposure, not just for me, but for all those that that are coming to these sessions. So connect with each other. Browser extension and standalone app. So Eric, does it or does it not work on LinkedIn when you're editing your profile? Just let me know that in the chat if you could, please. I would just be interested to know if that's true or not. So, and again, if anybody wants to come on live, I will go ahead and grab the, I think let me see here. I can have up to 6 people. I mean, a lot of people could come on here all at once, I suppose. That would be interesting, you know. Okay, there we go. So I put it in the chat again for those who would maybe want to come on the stream live. Just come on and we'll do it. We'll have some fun. Okay. So that's the link to join me live at the link provided. Good. Grammarly. So is it Grammarly ER? Is that how it's spelled? Or is it AR? Because grammar is AR, right? Did they change the spelling of it to be able to brand it or trademark it or copyright it? And is it free? I'd like to know that, because I might start looking at it, because I know there's other tools just like it that are out there for free, other plugins for Chrome or what have you. So maybe we should do like an evaluation session on that, maybe next Friday. Because next Friday I'll be on vacation, so I'll do a recorded session. Maybe I'll look at those different tools and see if they work on LinkedIn or not. If you guys are interested in that, just let me know in the chat. I'd be happy to do that. Outcome positive for you that you need to make that solution a reality. So that's something that's more appropriate for direct contact, not something to be broadcast on your profile or a broadcast in a post. So the other side effect, I didn't think about this until just now. You remember how we mentioned don't enter your own company or your own university or educational institution. The same is true for titles and skills, right? You can create your own title. I would at least put LinkedIn's version in there somewhere. LinkedIn has cataloged all the titles. When you start typing in the title section, you can do that. You can do that for skills too, actually. You can create your own skill. Neither of these things are things I would advocate. You could certainly add to the title that LinkedIn gives you as part of the list and put your own keywords on the end of it. That's acceptable. But I wouldn't make your own skills. Pick from LinkedIn's menus, and they have a pretty exhaustive list of all the skills available. Just don't take the ones that are made by yourself, or maybe all caps. You've seen those too, because they're used on the recruiter side. They're used as filtering mechanisms. So if I was looking for, say, a program manager and they had to have, I don't know, Six Sigma and some other skill, then certainly that could be a filtering mechanism to filter you in or out of a particular talent pool. So we wouldn't want that for you. So don't make up your own skills. Although I would make sure your skills are aligned with your brand. So look at it from that perspective. Right now is a good time to take a look at those skills, okay? The other thing that kind of drives me nuts is when, so the thing I would say is don't use the third person in the about section, okay? Don't use the third person if you can help it. This is a social network, folks. You can use the first person. You have my permission. And, you know, I see these on a lot of executive profiles. They're also using the third person. It's like a bio. There's a place for the bio. You can put it in a Word doc or some other link and put that in the featured section. Absolutely. That's a great place to put it, actually. Put your bio down there. But the about section should be a first-person presentation, a way for us to get to really know you, not just hear your corporate speak, okay? Good. Let's see. It should be on phone now. Okay. It's Friday. Yes, Joe, it's Friday. Hopefully you had some good interviews this week. So Grammarly is with an AR, thank you. And you have to pay for it. Is that true? I thought there was a free version of Grammarly. Is there not? Good. Let me know in the chat. I'll go through and review those, because I know Grammarly is not the only one. There's others that are equally as good. maybe even better. I think there might be actually it's not a plugin. Well, I'm not going to say it's not a for-profit business, but it's a crowdsourced thing. So I think there are plugins out there for grammar checking that would involve. Were you wanting to come on, Joe? I think I saw you pop in there. I'm happy to bring you on. I just noticed you were there. So that's what that link is for you to come on live. Yep. Okay. Nick says there's a free basic option. Okay, good. Awesome. Awesome. It is worth the cost. Yeah. I mean, if you were going to go for the advanced one, I guess, I'm not always an advocate of having people pay for things if it's not absolutely necessary. But if you have a history of people pointing out to you that you need help with your grammar, your spelling, then certainly go ahead and do that. But anyway, so that's the skills. Don't create your own skills. Okay. Don't use the third person. It's kind of weird. Use the first person. Okay. The other one I see occasionally is when people go overboard with their background image. It's just too much. In fact, I look at mine and I think mine's too much. You might look at my profile and tell me if you feel the same way, but I think I'm thinking about redoing it just to make it a little more attractive in certain ways. But I try to make the background image something aligned with my brand and something that isn't too distracting. And I've seen background images that are like word clouds and there's like 500 words on there. It's like, what is that all about? And how is that helping me understand your brand? It's just distracting me. You need to simplify and have it be aligned with your brand. It could just be a photograph. That's fine. A photograph and maybe a target title or a target domain, right? Maybe it's finance with a heart or some sort of slogan. Hey, by the way, do you have a slogan? Let me know what your slogan is. Nike is just do it. Right now, it's just don't do it, I think, because of the Black Lives Matter thing, but it's just do it. So what is your slogan? What is your slogan? What would you say that would be kind of an interesting attention grabber to get people to pay attention to you? Let me know in the chat if you would, please. So the background image is valuable real estate, and it's kind of like a billboard, but it shouldn't be distracting. So think about the billboards that you can think of that you remember, right? You remember the Got Milk thing? They were very simple. It just said Got Milk, and it showed somebody with a milk mustache. It was not very distracting. It's very simple, eye-catching, and consistent. So whatever you use, make sure it's consistent with your brand. So good. So, I mean, I guess we could go on and on about headshots, right? Profile photographs. There's so many that I've seen recently where, somebody's they're outdoors with a bunch of friends and they're squinting and they look like they're angry. Or it's a cropped wedding photograph where you see somebody kind of has got their arm up like this and you can see it's cropped off right here. It's just weird. So just make sure you take time. I mean, I've got teen daughters. I don't know about you guys, but it wouldn't take me but 5 minutes to put a nice outfit on, go outside when it's not too bright so you're not squinting. A natural light is way better than manufactured light, and have a contrasting background that I'm against, and just take a nice photograph. Get a couple, use some different shots. Don't just take one and call it good. Certainly get something up there. If you don't have something, put something, but the headshot, the ones that are cropped or, 15 years old glamour shots, just don't do that. Do something that's more recent. Okay. Or a selfie, right? I've seen a lot of selfies recently, these images you get from things like TikTok or, the filters that you see on Snapchat. Don't do that. This is a professional network. This is you professionally. This is not you personally. This is a place that people go to have conversations of strategic significance to them professionally or their career. Not that there aren't pro bono opportunities or volunteer opportunities. Don't mistake what I'm saying. But we're talking about the selfie images that you might see from different social channels. You clicked the link by accident. What? You didn't want to come on the stream? Oh my goodness. Yeah. Have a great weekend, Terry. I'll see you in 2 weeks' time. And in fact, Terry, if you could please send me an email, let me know if you can lead the team next Wednesday, because I'll be on vacation. Good, thank you. Excellent. So is there anything else that you guys think not to do on LinkedIn? What not to do on LinkedIn? I guess the other one I would say comes from LinkedIn messages. People, so I would not send, so this is kind of a purist approach that I never really believed in until recently. But I believe you should include a personal message with every LinkedIn connection request. The standard one is just not adequate. So don't send boilerplate connection requests. Always send a personalized request. Now, that used to be, I didn't really care. I would look at your profile and see if there's a match and say yes or no based on that. Now I mostly accept most people, unless those that are trying to sell me something. And they're blatant about it. They're going right. So don't sell things to other people on LinkedIn in a forward fashion where you're pushing it on people. Okay. So if that's you, don't push yourself onto people to get them to buy something from you. Be a resource first. Find out their needs first before you offer a solution. That's true for job search too, by the way. Always be the type of person that's seeking to add value. Understand, right? It's the 7 habits. Maybe the 7 habits is relates to job search. Be proactive. Proactive means I'm reaching out to you from a position of contribution, not self-interest. Okay. Begin with the end in mind. The end in mind I'm looking for is to deliver that contribution to you, so you see value in me being empathetic, right? Compassionate, others first, which is put first things first, right? So that's the other heavy habit. Anyway, we could go through those on another time. But Grammarly can get kicked out with Microsoft Word. Yeah, I mean, but Microsoft Word is not going to allow you to edit a website or, audit things on your LinkedIn profile. So I might check out the free versions of all of these, or see if there's a blog post out there. So, don't try to push yourself onto people or demand things if you're doing that. So in terms of that, if you were going to reach out to somebody for a networking purpose and you are a job seeker, then, that's something you need to take some time, energy, and effort to identify. What I'd call maybe a passion project, something you're looking to learn, curiosity, questions you want answered, right? Not, hey, can you find me a job, or here's my resume, how can you help me? It's how can we help each other, right? And so think about it from that pay. What about what kind of posts to avoid? Yeah, so if we're talking specifically posts, I would really encourage you to create content, share expertise, right? So if I come to LinkedIn right now, what is top of mind for people, right? What's top of mind for people is, am I going to be laid off? There's a lot of tension in the marketplace, right? So if anxiety, concern, future is uncertain. Some companies' supply chains have been crippled. Some companies might not survive and probably have already gone out of business. They just haven't solidified it yet. So there's a lot of things going on, but that doesn't mean there aren't opportunities to be of value to others. So I'd think about it from that perspective. How can I be of values to others? So if I was looking to avoid a post, I would not talk about my own needs. I would talk about others' needs, or how I helped somebody else in a specific way. So if you have a series of expertise, let's say in engineering, right? Hey, just got off the phone with so-and-so. Maybe it was a networking conversation. Maybe you were reconnecting with a colleague. Give an update, right? Hey, had a conversation with this person and realized some new things. I thought you guys might find this valuable. Here's an article that supports that. So that's what I would look at. Instead of saying, hey, can you help me? what is my, and calls for desperate help, that sort of thing. I would just avoid those. I would not do that. So good question. Headshot Booker. We're helping Americans get back to work by providing complimentary. Oh, thank you for sharing that, Joffrey. I appreciate that. So there are a lot of resources available because of the current events where it's evident that a lot of people are being laid off or furloughed, and they're facing anxiety and stress. So yes, there's lots of ways to do that. Wow, somebody's looking to join here, but Nick, it looks like you're upside down, my friend. You might want to turn yourself right side up. I don't know why it shows you upside down. It might be kind of fun though. I could bring you on. You could be the upside down guy. So I don't know why that is. Maybe it's on your phone. Is it on your phone? So let's do this. Let me hide this message. There you go. All right. Let's see what we got here. Nick, can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you. Am I online?
Yes, you are. You were upside down before, but you're good now.
Yeah, I'm on an iPad, and I had to turn the iPad upside down. Don't know why that happened.
Yeah, sometimes, what's funny is sometimes I'll pick up my phone and the screen's locked, and I'm like, why is the screen locked in this mode, right? Well, it's because my kids were watching videos on my phone. Anyway, Nick, how you doing, my friend? What can I do for you?
Well, I'm at a point of reset. Have had some rejections and continuing my networking to different people, but I think I'm trying to boil the ocean too much. Trying to cure world hunger in many ways, and the LinkedIn profile is something I think I need to go back to and set a new revisit my marketing plan and my target companies, and I think it's just time for a reset because it's been 6 months of a job search, and I think with this environment we're in right now, there has to be a little bit more of a focused approach as opposed to what I've been used to doing when the market's been a lot more job search friendly, I think. So, I think there's a realization that's been coming in my mind to me, especially with some of the recent rejections. I'm still waiting for one to come to me after having gone through 4 interactions with another company. I think the LinkedIn. One thing about the LinkedIn profile I did want to ask you is it does show dates for education, for experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that we've been talking about how on the resumes we try to be very get away from providing dates or going back past 15, 20 years. So I'm just wondering from the LinkedIn perspective how to address that. If you think there's any ideas or
take them out.
Okay.
Take them out. So I would align my LinkedIn profile with my resume so that they're very similar but not same, especially as it relates to your roles and experience, right? So if I'm showing 5 years at one company and then 8 and then 12 or whatever, then make sure your LinkedIn profile looks exactly the same, 5, 8, and 12, okay? And then anything else that's more than 12, 15 years experience or whatever you decide to draw the line at, I think there is value to having other companies listed that you might think are valuable to reconnecting with people. So for example, my first role out of college was with Columbia Sportswear. Guess what? I'm leaving it on my profile. Why? Because I want people that I worked with at Columbia to be able to find me. Or anybody that has any interest in connecting with me because of that, right? So
Right.
But I'm not in a search, okay? So your status right now is search status, right? And
Right.
so that means you need to adjust your profile to reflect that, so that people are seeing something that's very similar to your resume, so that if ever two come together, they're in sync. You maintain integrity and brand, okay?
Okay.
Now for the education, the only field required is the institution.
Oh, they don't require dates, do they?
No, they only require the institution. Okay, so if I attended Harvard, right, and it was a degree or certificate program, but I didn't graduate, I don't have to put what I earned or even the dates I attended. I can just say I attended Harvard and I studied this business thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would
Okay.
take those dates for education out.
Right.
But I would add
Okay.
things there too. There's description sections. There's probably things you did at school. Like, for example, one thing I considered putting on my profile was I was a radio DJ at Oregon State University for KBVR. And so that's something I had considered putting on my profile just to have it there so that in the event somebody reached out to me that was also a DJ at KBVR, we had something in common, right?
Hmm.
Does that make sense? So there may be
Yeah, that
other
makes
things
sense.
there
Yeah.
that you want to add to spice it up a bit. But it sounds to me like, you taken a couple on the chin. Is that right?
Oh yeah, it's not been the greatest month, and and I'm a little bit concerned about the one that I'm still waiting on, and I'm at a point where I need to do a reset to get my energy back up. Because there's been a lot of potential opportunities that came and gone, and I don't want I don't want my enthusiasm to wane. It's time to get myself back to to restart again.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I mean, resilience is the key. Resilience
Right.
is the key. Now, so what we're learning in this process, maybe, Nick, is that at some point you might think to yourself, gosh, it'll be great if I never have to look for a job again. And, when I get back to work, I won't have to network anymore. You know what I mean? I know I've been there, right? Oh, wow, I'm glad I got a job. Now I don't have to do all this nonsense. But that's the big mistake, right?
Hmm.
The big mistake is going back to work and stopping these activities because there's nothing that says another pandemic isn't coming or another thing might happen or the company gets acquired or whatever, right? Things happen, but you don't control things. You only control
Right.
yourself. And what does that mean? Is that you need to look at a longer time horizon and say, okay, this is something I intend to do for the rest of my career, maybe even the rest of my life, is to meet with people, have conversations, look for opportunities, even though I'm not interested in leaving my place of work, right? So that's the learning from this process. Now you're in the process, so it may not be something that you feel super good about. Would that be accurate?
Right. I don't feel super good about it and being a natural introvert, but forcing myself to go out there and network actually is helping me because I think even once I do land my next career step, it I think I want to continue doing this just because it really gets me more connected in my whole field and with other people I've been talking to.
Good. So what is your dream job?
Well, I have to sit back and think about where that is. I was leaning towards education. That's still,
What
but
kind of education?
well, I was leaning towards like a position at a college or university, but that's really a hard situation right now.
Hmm,
Uh,
not
but
really. Not
my
really.
dream job.
A lot of these organizations, a lot of these universities are going out of business,
Yes, they are. Right.
and their campuses are closed. So where's the market going?
Virtual and
Virtual,
online.
right? So if you have any experience teaching, educating, working virtual on video like we're doing right now, and you're
That's
demonstrating
true.
to everybody that you have that skill, that's what I'd be looking for. Who are the people
That's a
right
good point.
now? And maybe someone in the chat could let me know. Do you know anybody who's actively in that space, delivering, you know, maybe somebody in the chat or somebody as part of our team here, right, could help you with that.
Hmm.
So that would be objective for networking. How can I meet a bunch of people in that space that do that kind of work?
Right. Okay. Yeah. I know. I know one of the people who's is part of the group has been involved with that. So I've been networking on that a little bit. But there's more now that we're in this virtual world. I think there's a lot more to learn there. Yeah.
Yeah. So for you to come maybe from industry and walk into a tenured position at a university, that's a big leap, right?
Right. It is.
So right now it would be virtual education. So I mean, the thing I'm concerned about as a parent of kids in high school is how are they going to deliver education? And I'm okay with that, right?
Hmm.
I don't know if I am. Maybe I want to homeschool my kids now. I don't know. But the options I'm being presented don't look very palatable, and I certainly don't want to expose them to a dreadful pandemic, right?
Hmm.
So I'm kind of at a crossroads here. How do I make that choice? How do I make that decision?
And the education part of it can also extend itself into workforce development. There's some people who are in the marketplace who might decide they want to change into some other, redirect their careers, and that can be part of that too, perhaps, with some of
Yeah.
the adult learners. Yeah.
Right. So when I hear somebody like you say, I'm looking to reset, I'm looking to change directions, it's because you've taken a few on the chin, you're doubting your capabilities, you're feeling the rejection, and that's valid. Those feelings are certainly valid. I would take a different approach or a different mindset in that they accepted somebody else. They did not reject me. Okay. There can only be one.
Sure.
It's kind of like the Highlander. I don't know if you ever saw that movie. There can only be
yeah.
one, right? And so if you're looking at 500 candidates and you made it down to the finals or at least the final 5, I would feel really good that I was 5 out of 500.
That's
You had
good
a
point.
chance, right? You had an at-bat. Other people don't even make it to the big leagues, right? They're just a resume in a database, okay?
Yeah. That's a good point.
And you probably met a hiring manager, didn't you?
Oh, yes. That's right.
And you had a chance to make an impression?
Sure did.
And you could add that person to your network.
That's a good point. Yeah, I can continue networking with that person in the future.
Right. And who do you think they know as well?
Well, other hiring managers.
Right.
So
So
that's a
we
good
shouldn't look at our interviews as one and done, or hey, I didn't get the job, so I guess I'll move on to the next company. That's a mistake too. I mean, I know a lot of people, just because they kept in touch with the hiring manager, were fast tracked into the pole position on another opportunity once it came available. So set up an incubation path with those folks.
So
okay?
even after the rejection,
Yeah, say thank you. You know, I know this didn't work out for me. It certainly worked out for you. You got the right person. Congratulations.
Right.
I'm excited for you. I'm happy. Why? Because I don't have competition anymore. You guys pick somebody. They were better for you than me. Great. I don't have to compete against that guy anymore or that gal. I should be excited.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And
It's
by the way,
kind
there's
of like
somebody else in
dodgeball, right? You get hit with a ball.
And that person,
they're off
and
the
the person
field,
who got
right?
hired was probably interviewing somewhere else, or they might, or the hiring manager might know other people who are trying to hire out there. I mean, yeah, that's a good point.
They're not the only department available in that company, probably, right?
Mm-hmm.
They might have other
That's true, too.
divisions, other sections, other locations. They may play squash with somebody on Saturday mornings that's a hiring manager at company X that you could go work for. Man, I wish I could have hired this guy, Nick, but guess what? I can only hire one, and I had 2 great candidates, and I picked the one I thought was best. You should take this guy, right?
Right.
That's the kind of relationships you want, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I like that.
So you have to design some sort of follow-up strategy with each of these interviews. And it only occurred to me this week, Nick, and in all the years I've been doing this, I do still have epiphanies, you know, and that is the after interview process is actually part of the interview. So
Sure.
how you interact with them, it could be part of the hiring process. Okay.
After the offer is being made to somebody else, the interview continues because that person can serve as an advocate for you for somewhere else.
Right. Or, hey, I'm going to go with the person that follows up with me and sends me a handwritten thank you note. That's the person that gets the job.
Oh, sure.
Interesting. That's, you know, and I'm sure that may or may not be happening now because of the pandemic and everything, but you would be surprised how many people will make decisions based on that. If given 2 equal candidates, I want the one that has the highest EQ and appreciates giving words of affirmation.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of the interview. It's part of the hiring process is the post-interview follow-up.
Yeah, that's something I never thought about before either, because I'm really good about the thank you notes to everybody I've met during the whole process. But once the process really doesn't end. Even after the interview, after the offer is being made, there's still a follow-up that needs to happen. Or maybe the person who's being offered that job leaves in the year. It could be a lot of different things.
I don't know about you, Nick, but I love validation. Ted in the chat just said I've twice landed jobs after being rejected the first time.
Yeah, thanks, Ted.
Yeah, and I recognize that you're not being rejected. Someone else was accepted. And out of 500 people, 499 were rejected, if that's the way you're going to put it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They accepted the person that they thought was the best. That's just the way it is. And they're not rejecting you. And I bet they feel bad about it too. They wish they probably could give all those people a job,
Right.
but they can't. Fair?
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, thank you. That helps me feel a lot better about my next steps. Thank you.
Right. Well, and you only control your own activities, Nick. You don't control the company, their hiring practices, when a job becomes available. Right?
Right.
And there's two strategies, right? One's the proactive and the other's the reactive. And the proactive is meet the people. Have those conversations. Okay? And I know that's simplified, but did you download the networking checklist? You got that handy?
I do not have your networking checklist, but I was reminding myself I need to do that. Yes.
Okay,
I
and
need
then
to
there's
go
also
on the
the
website.
anatomy of a networking conversation. You can get that off the podcast.
Okay.
Have you been listening to the podcast?
I need to start doing that. Yes.
Okay,
So
good. So, I mean, if we're talking resilience, almost 80%, well, I would say 50, 60% of our episodes on the podcast are about resilience.
okay.
And so I think that would be valuable for you. Download them all, binge them over the next week.
Okay.
And pretty
Great.
soon you'll be leading this Friday session. So
All right.
good to
Thanks.
have you on, Nick. Good luck. Hang in
Right.
there, buddy. Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Nick, everybody. Give him a round of applause. Brave man for coming on. If you want to come on and get advice, support, questions answered, just like I did for Nick, that link is in the chat. Go ahead and access that link. You'll come into the queue, and I will admit you into this live stream. Let me go back to the live stream, and I'll see if I can't put that link back in here again so you guys can have it. Oh, good. Another headshot Booker thing. Good. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Joe. Also a headshot resource. Appreciate that. Good deal. Well, it's almost 4 o'clock. It's happy hour, right? This is our career happy hour. You can use that hashtag to ask any questions, make observations, offer support. Let's see. Don't respond. Yeah, don't respond to political posts. Save that for Facebook, right? And your private networks. Okay. Joe, you clicked on the link on accident. I get it. Good. Oh, Nick came back. Nick, did you want to come on again? Anyway, I understand. You're fine. I'll knock you out. Bye-bye. Okay, folks. Well, I do appreciate you coming here. If there's no further questions, I will sign off, and I'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Next week will be a recorded session of some kind. Maybe I'll share with you some reviews of the different grammar products if I get a chance, or I might go through some of my favorite job search books. All right, till next Career Happy Hour, FAQ Friday, whatever you want to call it, cocktail hour, as Terry says, 3 p.m. Pacific time every Friday. I will see you next time. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend.